Welcome to the Texas Metal Show. I'm your host, John fucking Winningham, and Elizabeth and I are real fucking lazy. Alright, here's our second set of interviews from Independent Year 2. This one starts off with Jody Seabody and the Whirls. These guys, I would say, probably aren't really metal at all, but they're fucking amazing if you have a chance to go see them do it. And then we sit down and talk to Tobin and Dar, the heads of Independent Music Festival. Hopefully we get a year 3. Before the show starts, make sure you check TexasMetalShow.com for all your show notes. Buy some fucking records. Don't be a stingy prick. Also, if you're listening to us on iTunes, please leave us a review. It helps people see the show. And ultimately, from what I found out, hold on, let me put on the brakes for just a second. So we went to South by Southwest, and we ended up getting to interview the head of Ripple Music. Now, if you're not familiar with Ripple Music, they have bands like Mr. Plow, Witch Crier, Mothership. I mean, those guys are all amazing and from fucking Texas, right? Now, Todd, the head of Ripple, told me Texas is pretty fucking unique when it comes to a local metal scene. He said there's nowhere else in the country like Texas when it comes to local metal. So what that means for you is get off your ass, spend $5 on Bandcamp, and support a local fucking band. Hear the interviews. We hope you enjoy. Sitting with Jody Seabody and the Whirls. We got, oh my God, Dave.
Bryce,
and Clint. The funny thing is we just went over this 5 minutes ago, and my stoned and drunk brain has already kind of forgotten everything.
What's the name of the show?
Texas Metal Show.
Metal Show.
Texas, yeah.
I told you that.
All right, give me a little bit of a background on Jody Seabody and the Whirls.
Well, it started with me and him, really. In high school, we just decided we wanted to be in a band, you know.
You and Clint.
Me and Clint. Yeah, sorry.
This is all audio,
that's
so
right,
they can't
that's right.
see you.
Bryce and Clint, and we decided over the summer that we wanted to start a band from junior high to high school, and we just started playing and jamming, and we've gone through a few different lineups, but it just kind of grew from there, just an idea as teenagers. And
so you two are like the mainstay original members of the band.
Yeah, if it was Pink Floyd, we'd be,
Waters,
Roger
whatever
Waters,
the other guy's
Richard
name
Wright
is.
or something.
My dad would kill me if he just heard me not know those guys' names.
Yeah,
because that's like, my dad is an older dude. He fought in Vietnam. So
wow.
It's a bit older.
Yeah.
And he told me the other day, and he plays guitar, and I've watched him play guitar all my life, and he loves the Beatles, and we grew up listening to Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
I said, what's the band that you listened to that made you want to play music? Because he used to play drums back in the day, apparently. He said, oh, Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
So that was the real fucking fuck up right there.
Well,
Dad, I'm sorry if you're listening to this.
We'll just have to hide this one from him.
I promise the floggings will ensue when we're done. We'll get them.
But, that was 2005. Bryce,
you guys have been around for quite some time, doing something.
That was the initial recording.
It was more children, like Beatles-esque poppy rock back then. And then in, I guess, 2008 or 2009, we got Dave in the band, and it took on a whole new sound, kind of incorporating more punk and psychedelic influences.
Yeah, you guys definitely really don't fit the metal side of the Texas Metal Show.
Right.
But, so let me tell you about the only reason I ever listened to your band is I bought.
What was that reason?
Let me
one
reason.
reason.
Well, I bought some Funeral Horse records on Bandcamp. They're done by Artificial Head Records, who also puts out your stuff.
That's right.
And I got a package with Jethro Skull, which is just amazing, and then Jody Seabody and the Whirls. And I was like, it was the holographic slammer.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this vinyl's real pretty. The graphics on the front are real bright. And I just put it away.
Yeah.
I never played it.
Yeah.
That was done by Marika Koger.
Oh, I love the artwork. The
Yeah,
artwork's
she designed a lot of older stuff. Like if
Why-
you look at the John Lennon's piano
She had,
and
like in the 60s.
Jimi
Why did
Hendrix
you go with
SG.
her? Was that-
Paul
It
found
was
it.
Paul found her and got her to agree to do it, and we were just like, all right,
Okay,
yeah,
let's go to town.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
So we put on Holographic Slammer, and Two Atmospheres plays.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that is a very poppy.
So poppy.
That was
kind of
recorded in
feeling-
Yeah.
2000.
And I'm like,
and we actually recorded that in like 2008 on an 8-track.
And I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, yeah.
Terry, this guy right here, a part of our team that does just hangs out with us when we do festivals and
What's up,
watches the
Terry?
merch. Yeah, fucking good old Terry.
Go Terry.
And so he puts on the record, and I'm like, what is this? Yeah. He's like, oh, it's Jody Seabody and the Worlds, and I saw that you hadn't opened it. I just wanted to check it out. And I was like, okay, this is different. I'm going to have to. I was kind of drunk and stoned.
Sing-songy.
And so I was like, this is weird. Like,
Yeah.
I'm kind of
Not metal.
I'm a metal guy,
Right,
but
right,
I
right.
also listen. I have a copy
course.
of Abbey Roads and some Zappa and shit at the house
course,
that I like
yeah,
to listen to. So then we get past that track,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting on the balcony and I'm smoking and drinking. I think Laura's asleep, and I'm talking to a friend of mine, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, yeah.
This is really good. And I was like, hey, Terry, what's this? And he's like, dude, it's still Jody Seabody and the Worlds. And I was like, fuck yeah. And then I just listened to that record a bunch of times.
Hell
through.
yeah.
But
Hell
you're
yeah.
right. That was a curveball. That first song
It was
threw me off.
deliberate. It was deliberate. Like like I said, it was just me and Clint recorded that one because we like to just get together and just write pop because we have a love for pop, and so we'll do that kind of as an outlet to get that out.
I've just been recently introduced to the Kinks.
oh
yes.
That is
Yes.
super
Yeah, we
poppy.
love
Kinks
that.
are
I've
an
been really
incredible
enjoying
band.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, one that was overshadowed by a few other big ones that we all know,
Right,
but they
right.
should have been remembered just the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we recorded that way back then, and we just weren't doing anything with it. It was sitting there. We listened to it again, and we were like, "This is awesome and hilarious," or whatever. And the idea was to put it at the front of the album because nothing else sounded like it. So,
No,
like
that's
thinking about it is like
trickery. The worst
yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
trickery, guys.
Yeah, exactly,
I almost
yeah.
just turned it off.
Exactly, I know,
heard
and,
that
and like
before.
it's like that.
Patience.
You know, it could bite you in the ass, but for the experience of listening to something, one song through the last song, it was. If people take the time to listen to it, it just seemed like a fun thing to do because
If-
it starts off like that and then it ends up being.
If you're listening to this episode, and I hope somebody is, go get this album, Holographic Slammer, and then
Yeah.
listen to that first song, and then go, what the fuck, and then listen to that rest of that album.
Yeah.
I can't say that first song's a bad. I'm not trying to say that
Oh,
first
no,
song
for
is
sure.
a bad
Yeah.
song.
It's
but
it's surprising.
it's not what absolutely surprising.
Right.
But
The
you know,
idea
Pink
kinda
Floyd was
was
very
to,
surprising.
to make an album that was less like like a photo album. Instead of a photo album, we wanted it to be more like a collage. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
So like there might be a picture of you from when you were 12, and then a picture of your friends when you were 17, and then a picture of you with your family when you're 27. It's all a collage of your own life. So we decided to throw that on there as this is also us.
Yeah.
You know what
Some
I
of
mean?
But
those.
this is what we did before. This is what we loved, and
Yeah,
so let's have
exactly.
this represented on what
Yeah.
we're doing
If
now.
you can't take
And
us
those-
at our most metal, you probably can't take us at our most pop.
Yeah.
Well, and those
exactly.
tracks were all written in different time periods. Some of those tracks
for
were
that
older.
for that entire record.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Some of those tracks were written before I was even in the band, and then were solidified in 2008, and then not really, like Grassman was something we had from way back when, and
Yeah.
it just never got on anything, so then we still collectively put it on a, release in that
Yeah.
time.
If someone were to ask you right now, like what, we're genre people. It
Yeah.
just is for me. It's always been part of my life, and if you're a regular listener, you've heard me talk about this before. Like we like to categorize things.
Right.
I don't know. I can imagine a world of heavy metal music that's just a jumble fucking. I don't know what's what, and it frightens me. So I like to put everything kind of in its place.
Yeah.
So what kind of music would you say that you guys make now as a band in 2017?
I mean, I think we still do everything. Like, as of tonight, we still played a song that was on a 2005 recording. So I don't think we categorize ourselves for every album that recently comes out. It doesn't seem that's a direction we're going. It seems like that's something we wanted to do and something we wrote. And then it could be, turning right after that. So it's hard to define where we're going.
If you're packing a box to move our records and you had a piece of duct tape and a Sharpie, you would just write psych/punk.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
And then
definitely.
our record would go in that box.
Yeah.
Since we've already kind of established, like, you guys aren't really a metal band.
True.
And as a mostly metal show, and people see, Texas Metal Show, we've had a couple episodes, well, we don't really play metal. And I'm like, well, hold on. We kind of try to embrace everything. We try, because you guys have a heavy elements of your music.
Yeah.
You may not be a heavy metal band, but you definitely have music I can go out and I can headbang to. And for me, that's what makes heavy metal. The ability to headbang. That's all you need.
Yeah. You feel it. Yeah, you feel it
We
even if
certainly
you feel it the whole
incorporate
time.
that.
In your personal lives, when you're listening to, at work, you're listening to the music that you enjoy, what kind of heavy metal, if any at all, do you guys listen to?
I love Judas Priest. We were talking about that.
Yeah. What's
We
your
like
favorite
a lot
Judas
of-
Priest album?
My favorite Judas Priest album is Sinner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that?
What's your favorite Judas
I'm
Priest
a
record?
fan of British Steel. I love British Steel, but
Yeah.
Painkiller, when I put on Painkiller the first time when I was younger, I played in a metal band
Painkiller's-
before I joined there, and I put on Painkiller, and it blew my mind. I was like, this is incredible. That'd be number one.
My introduction to Priest, other than
What?
Oh,
What?
welcome,
Hi.
welcome the rock star himself.
Hi, Clint.
So
I am not on acid. Do not ask me any questions about
Okay.
this.
We already discussed
Fucking
that for
shit.
like an
Hi.
hour, Paul.
Was it
We
Walter,
talked about it.
Walter or Paul?
I'm nauseated. I'm gonna be
Walter.
Walter, go
Walter's
be sick
gonna-
somewhere else. We're
Sucks.
trying to interview, bro.
sick. My band?
It is one of your bands. You actually sent me their record.
Oh, you
That's how
step
I know
up.
about them.
Or you'll get treated like the bald guy outside.
Do I have to wear clothes?
No, you can be as
Shout outs
naked
to the
as
bald
you
guy
want.
outside.
I think my favorite Judas
Oh my
Priest
God.
record was definitely Thriller.
Yeah. For me, it's
Thriller.
it's
Pain
kind
Thriller.
of a
Thriller.
toss-up. When the first time I ever really experienced Judas Priest was in 2004 at Ozfest with the reunion tour with Rob Halford.
Yeah.
And before that, in my life, I'd only heard the radio hits. I'd never,
Right, of course.
You can't listen to
Yeah.
everything, right? You get,
Oh, yeah,
you get
I mean,
exposed to what
You got
get
another
exposed-
thing coming. You can
And they
only hear so
fucking
many times.
Came
but-
out with Hellion, which I think is that what it's called, the opening to Screaming for
That
Vengeance.
That was the opening track to Electric Eye.
Right, and then they go into Electric Eye. And
Yeah.
I was like,
Yes.
you
that-
can't see my
Out
face, but
here
I'm
in
like, I was like,
space.
holy
Yeah.
shit. Because when I was younger, and I mentioned this earlier, we make our boxes for what metal is, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is kind of lame, because I was, let's see, I'm 31, 2004, however old, 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, Judas Priest, ha ha ha, froofy metal, right from
Yeah.
back in the 80s when I was born. And then I was like, oh my God. I was sold at that moment when he came out on that fucking motorcycle.
Yeah.
And they played that introduction, man.
Yeah.
So for me, Screaming for Vengeance, but
Screaming for Vengeance.
Sad Wings of Destiny
Yes,
is
Sad
really,
Wings of
really
Destiny,
coming
which
in
was
for me.
Sad
It's
Wings of
probably one of my
Destiny is
favorites.
That album is called Sin After Sin, by the way.
Sin
the
After
song
Sin.
is called Sinner.
Sinner. Yeah.
Right.
And I think
but that's my favorite
Elizabeth's
Judas.
favorite album is Defenders of the Faith. That's what
Oh,
gets her off,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, Priest, Halford, what's his name? TK Tipton, KK Tipton.
What do you guys think
KK,
of
yeah.
Ripper?
Yeah.
Priest?
Ripper Owens.
Yeah, like,
And
I mean, dude,
I heard a
shout-
strong,
Whatever.
Respect.
I heard a strong defense of like
Censored.
his voice at a time of an older man trying to do that same thing. So there is defense in that, but it's not Halford.
We
Yeah,
can't,
it's
we
never
can't, we
Halford.
can't, right, well,
right.
But you
yeah,
can't
it's
hate
like-
on it. It also is
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
good.
Legal
and,
does not
you know,
approve of this statement.
like
we,
man-
Jody Seaby in the world
the
does not
man-
approve
oh,
of
my
Paul's
eyes hurt.
interruptions.
it's because the sun.
All
The
bets.
label does not
all the
approve
sun-
of these
the sun is,
answers.
like, right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the new Guar
Clint,
album.
I love you.
I really enjoyed the
I
new
haven't
Guar
listened to
album,
it.
but
Yeah.
and it's only been out for a couple of days, and I've only listened to it 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And then I just went back and listened to some older Guar.
Yes.
I was like, man,
Yeah.
Lothar is not odorous.
Yeah.
And you can tell.
So he's a different character.
Well, it's Odorous is dead. David Brock
Yeah,
is dead.
yeah.
And so Blothar used to play with Guar. Now he's back.
As
He was the original Beefcake, wasn't he?
Oh, really?
And so
Okay.
he's fucking son, man.
Yeah.
He's odorous adjacent. And while I
Yeah.
really enjoy the new record that just came out, I think it's called like Blood of Gods or Blood for Gods. When you hear it, it's not
There's a
odorous.
difference,
You
yeah.
always kind of there's always a little thing
You have
behind
that
your head.
preference that
And so
will be
for-
biased to anything else.
Right.
You could throw anybody else in there, and you're gonna be like, well, it's not what I.
It's not
came
Matthew
into.
Barlow. It's
Yeah.
not Rob Halford. It's
Yeah.
not odorous. It's not whatever.
Exactly.
That
It's
dude's
not
name
Ace
from
Frehley
AC/DC
and
that
Kiss.
died.
It's not
Yeah,
Peter
Bon
Criss.
Scott, yeah.
Bon Scott, thank you.
Yeah, it's
Old
not
Bonnie.
Bon Scott. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Jody Seabody in the world.
Cool.
What are you guys doing? It's been 2 years since a record came out.
Yeah.
What's happening with you guys?
We are almost finished recording the new record. And we just have a few things to lay down, right? And then I start mixing it and mastering it, and then we put it out.
The next record is much more appropriate for the
metal show, actually.
metal
yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Really?
The
Why
next
is
record,
that?
it's just heavier.
It comes from a more metal place.
super metal.
And what place is that?
Dave.
Yeah, it comes
Dave.
more
Dave,
from
you
It's
like
actually
a metal guy.
a side project that me, Clint, and JT had since back in 2008. It was just I was writing some songs, and Clint heard them, and Clint said, hey, like, let me play bass on that. We got JT to play, and it was something we never played shows, never recorded, but it was just an outlet to write music. And when it came down for us, like, moving forward, we were like, well, we're not playing that anymore, so let's make that our new album. So it just happened to be we transitioned a side project into a new Jody Seabody album, incorporating Jody Seabody and taking a twist on it.
Does it have
Yeah.
a nice like psychedelic sprinkle
It has some
across it?
psychedelic
little
twists.
sprinkle.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the best way to put it. It's a sprinkle.
Because psychedelic music
Yeah.
recently, for like the last couple of years, has started to seep into my life. I never really listened to
Yeah.
any of it before, outside of like Uriah Heep.
Oh, yes.
And then I-
yes,
Oh, hell yeah.
Which is-
Uriah Heep, man.
When I got,
Big influence.
I'm not going to tell the whole story because I've said it a million times on this show. Like when I got into metal, sorry, Elizabeth is giving me messages
No,
and it's
you're fine.
bundling me up.
No worries.
Like Demons and Wizards, one of my favorite
Yeah.
bands, they named themselves after a Uriah Heep album.
Right.
I read about it, then I went and bought that album, and
their second
Uriah
album.
Heep became one of my favorite fucking bands.
yeah.
But other than that, I just kind of ignored it, and then I met a lady, not this lady, but a different lady. No, not you, I'm sorry. I love you, but not you. I'm getting a big
She's
fuck you
flicking
from
him
Elizabeth.
The bird.
Then she opened up the psychedelic door, and I just
Yeah.
kind of don't want to get out of it. Because
You're right.
psychedelic rock and
Yeah.
roll is the
That
best.
first
Dude, I
album they
fucking
came
love
out
it.
with,
The
my dad's a big prog guy, and I remember just being a young person pulling that album out of his collection of albums and opening it up, and that giant dragon, like, I was like, wait a minute, recorded in like 69, I believe, like released then. So when Beatles were finishing their stuff, Uriah Heep came out with this huge fold out of a black and white
Yeah,
drag. Like,
insane.
that was cool.
I think I might actually have one of those at the house. I'm
Yeah,
gonna have to
they're
go double
incredible
check.
albums. There's a lot of them
It's
you can
awesome
find
to,
out there,
to
but
think about
the
the
artwork.
kids of the time of
Yeah.
like
The
pulling
time
that
it
album
came out,
out,
that artwork.
1969, Beatles are doing Abbey Road and all that stuff, and I love the Beatles, but to like
Well, the
imagine
Beatles
a
were
kid
pop
that's
music.
used to that.
Yeah,
it's
They were
pop
pop music.
But just that
But
was
imagine
what
a
was
kid that was
in
used to that,
everybody's
pulling
album
that
collection.
Out, the Uriah Heep album out, and just being like, what the fuck
Yeah.
is this? Like 1969. Oh, can we not say the Effie?
No. Say
Oh, okay.
fuck, shit, cunt, bitch, whore, whatever you want.
Shit,
Who
shit,
cares?
shit.
Damn, hell.
Okay, so
This is
we're
George
What
Carlin
do you guys
approved.
know about King Diamond?
Oh, King Diamond.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're at a King Diamond show.
Yes.
And King Diamond changed my life. He introduced me to Satan. Thank you. It just really. King Diamond is one of the most influential people in my life, and
Yeah.
I've never met the guy.
Right.
We're at a King Diamond show, and they're playing Uriah Heep. And this dude standing
Oh,
next to me
yeah.
is like, what the fuck is this
Right,
shit? Why are they
yeah.
playing this? And I was like, dude, Uriah Heep is the reason King Diamond exists as he is. You
Right.
should. I was like, you have to go educate yourself.
A lot of
those
And he
old
was
bands,
like,
yeah.
okay, man, I'm going to go get some records.
I'm just picturing like at a show, like
I
in
was
the crowd, being like,
disgusted.
"Excuse me, sir,
Yeah.
you would
Stop the music.
please go and educate yourself. Thank you."
Talking
But
shit
in
about
a lot
Uriah
of those
Heep.
old
Yeah.
bands, even like King Crimson, you had the softest, most beautiful songs on an album with the loudest, like heaviest thing. So that's also an influence to heavy metal. But back in the day, it was heavy metal. I'm not gonna say it came and went, but it was it was kind of a sprinkle to use on a progressive album to
Sprinkle,
get very
that's a-
loud and very
Sprinkle's the word of the
intense and
day.
Yes.
scary sounding, but then to go back into gentle, beautiful tracks, you know. Those old bands did it very well, you know.
They knew what they were doing.
And it's an influence
they
on
had
us.
some
I mean,
very
magic
dynamic.
behind
you can
it.
tell on
for
Holographic
albums
Slammer.
rather
I mean,
than-
we kind of had the same idea of it.
think-
We wanted lush with heavy, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
It would be impossible for us as a band to not incorporate
That's true.
psychedelia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Since the
It's-
moment we were
Yeah, it's
first
just the people we
exposed to
are.
music, there was a psychedelic element to it, just because of our generation.
Well, what
our
was your-
parents were listening
What
to.
was your psychedelic, like, where
I
do
mean,
you come
Jesus,
from?
even going to
Jesus.
Good. Hey, praise Jesus.
Jesus
Psych
Christ of
Jesus.
Nazareth in Nazareth.
Nazareth, yeah, there you go.
He's debating them. It's
No,
a
I mean,
religious.
the
Now you're
records-
messing with the son
The
of a
records
bitch.
our parents had were pop, but it was late '60s pop, which is automatically psychedelic,
Right,
Autumn.
yeah.
right? So, you know, even if it's early '60s shit like Summer Days and Summer Nights by the Beach Boys, I mean, there were tracks on there where there's a track on there where they talk about, it's called Theme Parks USA. And in the song, they take the sound of roller coasters and people screaming, and they move it from one side to the other, at least on
wow.
the stereo mix.
Right.
That in itself is
Just
psychedelic.
doing
It's
more
putting
with what
pictures
you
in your
have.
mind. It's more
Yeah.
than just music. Otis Redding, sitting on a dock on the bay. There's sounds
Oh,
of
yeah.
seagulls.
Yeah.
You're supposed to see the seagulls and see the
and
ocean.
the bells
That
and
is,
stuff.
in essence,
And a lot of
psychedelia.
Buddy Holly's stuff, what the Crickets did,
Right.
with a lot of their tracks were insane for a backing band. No, I'm being totally serious.
Oh,
Like-
okay, sorry, I thought
like
you were-
like a lot of
But
their
yes,
where
yeah.
you would think there should be a drum set and a bass player playing, but
Right.
they're both like hooting and melodically, you know, making noises.
Yeah.
Just
I'm not
just
sure
doing more with what you have.
there was
at the
any
time.
snare on the song Peggy Sue. I think it was
Yeah,
just
No, it was
Yeah,
just a roll. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Like, and,
Yeah.
and nobody, they just, you know.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, if we didn't incorporate it, we would be not being true to our roots.
Right.
And the idea of Jody Seabody is to take four people and take all our samples
Yeah.
and put them together, and out comes whatever it is. It just so happens that we all have parents who listen to psychedelic music.
You know
Yeah,
what my
yeah,
fucking
right.
parents outside my biological father listened to, and then the father I told you about would be my stepfather, but
Okay.
Right,
I
right.
just call them both dad because they've
Yeah.
both been around since
Makes
I don't
sense.
fucking
Oh, yeah.
remember. Like my mom listened to like Christian gospel, and then like
The most
I
psychedelic.
feel ya.
Yeah,
I
that,
feel
that is the
what
most
is that?
Super
psychedelic
psych.
shit ever.
Through yet?
not yet. We're talking about Christian gospel music.
We'll be right
Oh,
there,
don't
Paulie.
say that
I
to
don't think
Paul. We triggered.
Christian
We
Lawson?
triggered.
No, Christian gospel, like Christian music where they sing about Jesus.
Well,
Christian
the
gospel.
idea
Jesus.
of some kind
Jehovah?
of sun god is
You're
extremely
Let's not get into
psychedelic.
religious talk.
He's Inca.
I mean, if you were talking about like a virgin having a child, that's a fucking very psychedelic
My
experience.
mom listened to pop music. My stepdad introduced us to the Beatles and kind of Pink Floyd, and then my biological father like Metallica and Black Sabbath. So I had
Right,
a
yeah.
decent foundation.
That's
Yeah.
a good foundation.
But you know, nobody was like, "Hey, listen to Judas Priest, listen to Iron Maiden." I had to kind of come back. on that.
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
But that's like a 80s thing. Like, if you weren't ready to embrace the studded vest.
Oh, the first time I saw video of Iron Maiden live when I was younger, I was like, "Oh, those guys look gay."
Yeah.
Because I was,
Right.
I was like, "Oh,
They
look
were
at
incorporating
Deanna? Was it Deanna with the studs and stuff, or
it could've
Bruce
been Bruce
Dickinson?
I don't know.
Dickinson.
It was Dickinson running around.
yeah.
Run to the hills, and he's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
on the leather bracers and like.
Dude, that dude.
Yeah,
You're like, oh my
yeah.
god.
I've seen him a
What
couple
is
times.
he
dude. It's like
definitely
a
looked like some
$1 million
kind of
production.
wood
He's like,
elf.
oh, I'll have you know, I can fly a plane.
That's right.
I'll punch you right in the
Look,
chopper.
I saw the Somewhere Back in Time tour in 2008.
I was
That
there. I
motherfucker
was
did like
there.
backflips on stage.
Oh, it was a
And
huge
was-
production.
yeah.
All the
Bruce
it was like,
Dickinson
dude,
did
they
it?
must
And then,
have like four.
Somewhere Back in
18
Time,
with-
Eddie came out.
Yeah,
I was at that
exactly.
show,
I was
man.
there. I was
Okay.
up on the hill smoking joints.
We're gonna have to wrap it up because the music's gonna start soon
Yes.
and we're not gonna hear us. When does this new Jody Seabody and the World's album come out? Do we have any idea?
Early 2018.
Probably
no
will.
later than March. That's
And
the idea.
How do you
There we
guys
go.
feel about today's show? How do you feel like you did? You guys did a great show. I watched you. It was
It
really
was
good.
a lot of fun. It was so hot.
Yeah, oh my god.
I was a little bit
It was
hungover,
really actually very fun to open.
but it was
the
very
festival.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody was.
There's quite a turnout, even for the opening. I
Yeah, it
was
really
surprised.
was. We
And
were
like,
surprised.
the general feeling in the crowd was very positive.
Usually, opening a festival, usually you have people walking
Yeah.
by. Here, there was the people that
standing
were
there
here
watching.
were watching the
Yeah.
band playing.
It's
In the
because
sun
we're
with
all
us.
Normally you
coming
don't
together
find.
for Houston,
Yeah.
and everybody's on the same page.
Yeah,
Everybody
yeah.
wants
Yeah.
to help, and
Everybody
everybody's
was
here for a good
being
time.
entertained rather than entertaining themselves.
Yes,
All right. Oh,
what do
no,
you-
time,
Oi, mate.
Paul.
Oh,
Time. Paul's
That is
jacking off
just-
right in front of us.
I went to England with this motherfucker.
Paul just stripped naked. Paul's jumping over the bar and beating up the bartender
Paul's
as we
is
speak.
being
Paul,
jousted.
stop. Paul,
More of
stop.
Paul than I am.
Call the
Merman
cops. He's got a knife.
Guys, we're gonna play
got
Fucked
a
Up
knife.
Adventurous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so
There's a
much
great
for being
music
on the
video
show.
for that, by the
man.
way.
It's
Thanks
nice
for
to
having
meet you
us, and
guys.
check out
Yeah.
the video
Sir.
on the
Texas
YouTube.
Metal Show. Woo.
My butt hurt.
My butt hurt.
Yeah, but back to see
Tobin, Dar, thanks for being on the show again. I think this is the fourth time for Tobin, second time for Dar.
Yeah.
And then that one interview we just never used from the Dirty 30. So it's been a week. You guys get any rest, any sleep?
Yeah, I was pretty tired driving up here still. I think my body is still recovering, but...
That was and I didn't do a whole lot that weekend, but just the entire weekend of getting set up and being there from like the beginning to the very end was hard as shit. And I didn't even have to like coordinate anything. So I can imagine you guys were like double tired.
Yeah.
Or at least...
I was like, how do we cancel day 2? It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, why did we do this?
We're driving home Saturday night. He's like, maybe someone will call a bomb threat tomorrow.
And then I told Zach that at Walters. He's like, well, I would have just taken the show over. I'm like, yes, you would have. But yeah, by the time when we got to Walters that day, John, the talent buyer, him and I have known each other since high school. We went to from 10th grade on. He they had this new cold brew that this, I don't know her name, it's Amanda something, but she's their first buyer, and he told me just have one cold brew, and I'm like, oh, whatever. I had 3 of those. I should have had 1. Like George from Pireship, like later in that night, like LA Witch is about to play, and he goes, yo, whatever coke or meth high you're on right now, you're gonna have a heart attack. And I'm like, no, it's the cold brew. The cold brew is real.
Alexis drink the rest of it.
Here's the cold brew.
So in your estimation, as what's the appropriate term? Promoters, putter-togethers of great music festivals? What's the legitimate term here? If we
I don't
want to be
know,
professional
just
about it?
organizers.
Organizers.
Like,
there we
organizers.
go. That's a good name. In your estimation, how successful was Independent year 2?
I think it was real successful as far as overall. We try to not even look at numbers or money or anything like that.
It just makes you sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it will for the first 4 years. And I think everyone that does events will tell you that over and over.
Absolutely.
So we know that going in. But yeah, as far as year 2, I mean, we were really tired and it took a lot, but it took nowhere near what year 1 took to overcome all of what we did.
He actually slept this year.
Yeah.
Not just in 30-minute increments either. He actually slept.
Yeah.
Last year was like all in a chair.
Yeah, I mean,
Sleep.
just having it at Sigma and just kind of squeezed down a little bit definitely took some pressure off to a big degree. It was still a rough getting it all lined up after the after the hurricane. It was probably like 3 weeks to a month that we had to get everything lined up for Sigma. So
We'll delve a little bit deeper into the hurricane
But
here in a minute.
I think it was just, you talk to like King Buffalo, you talk to Elder, and they're like, Houston's not known for any of this kind of music. Like around the United States. Because we don't have the bands that are like as like there's Venomous Maximus here, and there's like Oceans.
Yeah,
of
there's no
Oceans
Mothership here. There's no
like
Greenbeard here.
right.
You have Oceans of Slumber, and then you have that falls into some of the more heavy prog. The bands aren't here, and then the scene has always just Houston scenes. It's quiet, It
has weird fluctuations. Sometimes shows are really packed, and then other times they're really barren.
King Buffalo was the first time here. I believe it was Elder's first time here too.
That was a great
Yeah,
set.
they both.
I just sat in a chair and watched
They
it.
just wanted. They're like, "Yo, we'll come back anytime. Like this is incredible. Like what y'all just did." And I think I counted, at one point with paid and people there, it's probably like close to 900 people, and that's without the other bands like Dead Meadow and Golden Dawn. So I was like, that was about what we had last year for the festival, and I took 16 bands off to make it work.
Jesus, that's a lot of fucking music.
Yeah, a lot of music. So I think this year, and it's. I don't like to say, hey, we're starting the scene, but I think we're starting to actually like formulate, and
You're certainly
we're
helping the foundation and the structure
foundation
of the scene build up because it's real crappy and like
Alexis
full of
has
cracks
done.
and shit.
Alexis has done so much for it, but we just
She's
kind of have
abandoned us.
we just have take our approach, and I think we're helping out a lot, and for us it's just not just doom or just stoner. I mean, we love rock and roll. I mean, the whole second day of the festival is just nothing but like 70s style rock. It's like a whole throwback. We like heavy blues, heavy psych rock. The surf, I love surf rock. We love it all. Just good music. Try to just stay away from the cookie cutter commercial kind of rock. And I think it's a pretty good formula.
There's a lot of that out there.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm starting to see more people from like bands going and seeing Doom, people who love Doom at like going out to support some of the surf rock bands, or you see some of the guys from like the lighter psych bands coming out, and like I think it's a good community because it's kind of what Houston needs. We're so big, we're so diverse. Well, that's how it formed. Is like, we don't want to be Desert Days. We don't want to be Psycho Las Vegas. We don't want to be Levitation. We got to do our own thing. So Psych, Stoner, Doom, all that, just combine it.
Well, I think the first 2 years of Independent have really cemented you guys in this position of supporting I just use the term Doom. Doom, just for me personally, just kind of encompasses all of those types of music because they all kind of have roots from the same shit.
I think Doom is now taking on a whole new layer. It's just not a style of music. It's an atmosphere. It's like what's being created because there's, I've always been a fan of, growing up, I was like into hardcore and thrash. I love like power trip. That's crossover thrash. Like if you're not crossing over genres right now, you're
doing something wrong
because it's like it's all been done before. So you have to be able to cross over, and that's what we enjoy.
I mean, you ask Elder what they are, and they will not tell you we're a Doom band. They have several interviews since this album's come out, and they're just like, we're on Doom charts, but I don't know if we're technically a Doom band. But they have flashes.
They're definitely Doom. They have.
Oh yeah,
some doomy aspects to their music,
sure.
and then there are people who don't want to embrace a genre. Like
right.
There are some people who are like, "Oh well, no, I'm not saying this, Elder, if you're listening, which you probably won't ever. I'm not saying you're these people, but there are people like Childish Gambino. Are you guys familiar? Who's like, I don't label me this, don't label me that. Like I'm not any of these things because I don't want to be pegged. Yeah. But for me, I just like to clap. Like it's just easier for me to put.
Elder has like what I was just talking about. Like they have like that Doom atmosphere to them. And they have the tone. I mean, they tune in like drug B's. No, they tune in drop B. I don't know. I think their sound. They're the next Mastodon. They have that whole progressive,
does that mean
progressive Mastodon sound.
From here on out, when they play a live show, they're going to like sing off key and not sound very good? Because look, I love Mastodon. I've only seen them once at the Revention Center downtown with like Corrosion of Conformity and a couple of other bands right before we started dating. Like we just started dating. And they sounded fucking awful, and I was like, "Oh, this is so
what day?
Have their problems.
What day on the tour is that though?
Yeah, I guess if you
they'd be doing like world tours, but no, that like whole Mastodon sound. They kind of, they don't sound like Mastodon, but they definitely have that progressive work, like what new Mastodon has.
So fuck. I hate that I lead with that. So I'm trying
Good thing for editing.
Yeah, right. When it comes to bands like Elder or Mastodon, or I'm going to throw out Blind Guardian in this mix, because these are bands that have gotten, how do I say this properly, different. Like you listen to the first 4 Blind Guardian albums, and then you listen to the next 4 Blind Guardian albums, and you'll hear a change.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then you listen to the first 4, I don't know how many Mastodon albums they have.
Well, yeah,
you listen to the first few Mastodon records.
Remission and Leviathan are straight just like more on the thrash. Like
right.
you got
and then you listen to Crack
tone,
the Sky,
like Red Fang.
And
Crack
it's
the Sky
completely different. That's the album that opened me up. I heard Crack the Sky and was like, what? This is Mastodon? I was like, nuh-uh. I've heard Mastodon. They don't sound like this. So they progress. Every album, something changes.
Yeah, they just don't stop growing. It's like Elder. Elder said, we're going to keep evolving. I mean,
Where are they from?
Elder's
Boston.
Boston,
yeah. Okay.
They have members originally from Germany, or are they all Boston
I
cats?
think they're all Boston. I mean, don't quote me on it.
Yeah, we don't know. We're just speculating at this point.
They're from Boston.
Let's talk about the Harvey Relief side of year 2 of Independent. So this is something I probably should have asked you guys before when we were running plugs, because once the original festival, due to Hurricane Harvey, thank you Harvey, was canceled, there was kind of some, we didn't know if Independent was happening, so we stopped running a plug because I didn't want to tell people this festival was still going on.
I mean, we appreciate the plugs.
How much did you rate? Like, what charities did you guys give to? How much money was raised in total? Do you guys have those figures? Do you have your accountant?
We raised roughly $3,000.
Yeah,
wow.
Nice. Yeah.
And we're kind of sitting here. We've mentioned we would do the Mayor Turner Fund, and we have gotten backlash from some of that. Rightfully so. There's a lot of up in air as far as what that fund does.
Well, so why?
Yeah, there's a few firefighters that are actually in these bands, and the whole standoff with that.
So what's up with this? I don't know anything about this
They're
Mayor
just-
Turner. I know I don't like Mayor Turner for some specific reasons with
Right.
homeless people, but that's just a separate thing.
Exactly one of my reasons, especially with Judge Emmett. They're like, especially with the firefighters. He said he was going to stand behind them, and he is not standing behind them
Basically
now.
just defunded Houston Fire Department.
That's
They're
terrible. This
so
is
Absolutely
fucking
undermanned
huge.
right now. They have nothing in their fire stations that they need.
Yeah, we had Houston Press just release that because it was kind of like the safe. Hey, here's a safe bet because like we were so busy, we were like, well, dang, like we're already organized. It's like, well, let's turn it into a benefit.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't know where to go. I mean, I could take my time to really find one, but we want our money to go somewhere that was gonna actually help people, not just go in somebody's pocket.
Yeah, you don't want to donate to a charity that only gives 10% of their income, whatever they're pulling in,
Yeah.
to actual
CEO
charity work, and then the
pockets.
CEO is making millions of dollars, and you're like,
For
what
sure.
the fuck? This doesn't make any goddamn
Yeah, I mean,
sense.
since the hurricane hit, we spent a good 2 weeks just down the road from my house, off 242 in Conroe, and I mean, it was just house after house in these neighborhoods that are completely destroyed, and
People
most
living
of
in
them,
tents.
yeah, they're living in tents. They're scared to reach out to FEMA or any other because of documentation and things of that nature, and they know they're not going to get the help that they need. So it's kind of like one of those double-edged swords. We sat there and thought, well, maybe we'll at least keep half the donation and go there and do some work, directly with some of our friends. It's kind of one of those weird situations where we feel like no matter what we do, someone's going to get angry.
well, you
Someone
can't
won't
make
agree.
everyone fucking happy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
for goddamn
I mean,
sure.
you look at like JJ Watt raised $37 million, and he's doing like 4 different nonprofits, and people are just up in arms about it.
is
And it's
that?
not even like the nonprofits that people have problems with. It's just because a lot of people are not seeing that money directly, and they're getting, personal emotions involved in it. And I know it's hard to reach everybody that got affected. I mean, it's almost impossible. No matter how much money is raised, people will slip through the cracks, and it's just going to happen. So we definitely feel like we have to tote a fine line on that, and we're still discussing on
I think
where
we're
exactly
going to reach
put the
out.
money.
Yeah, going to reach out and probably here in the next week and kind of get some ideas. So keep people involved who are supporters of us and try to find like the best location, because there could be I know quite a few organizations, but I want to see like somebody who actually donates, like which one works the best for you. But yeah, like even JJ Watt, like people went up in arms about that. As like part of it was like, okay, so I was in Kingwood where my parents live.
Yeah.
And there
so-
there's 45 feet of standing water.
we
over
have
there.
we have a hurricane, right? If you're listening to the show and you're not aware, just when was it? When did the hurricane hit?
August
August
26th.
August 26th, Houston. Well, Houston
Through
was through Corpus.
350
Jesus Christ.
350 miles
Texas
of
just took a
Texas.
beating
Yeah.
altogether, but Houston specifically took a huge beating, and then those guys at what is that a little town everyone ignored?
Rockport.
Rockport.
Port Aransas.
How are those guys doing? Are they
Port
still all
Aransas, I
fucked up?
believe, is no more. Or Port O'Connor. I think they're gone.
So we have this big hurricane come in, and it fucking drops a trillion bajillion gallons of water, moving Houston further into the earth,
Yeah.
which is fucking insane because there was so much water. And then the world kind of blows up, and we're all wondering what's going on with Independent, because Tobin is out like helping rescue people. I don't exactly know what you were doing, but you were out there doing all sorts of
Yeah.
shit. But I know you were storage units took a hit, and you were helping
Yeah.
people tear out their houses and all that kind of stuff.
Basically, like my livelihood and my brother and my mom, we have a storage facility, and it had like 4 feet of standing water, which
shit.
basically came from the Lake Conroe Dam release. It's like clockwork. It happened the year before, but it didn't reach into the storage unit. I actually watched it come up through the sewer in the parking lot and get about a foot and stay. And so this year on Monday, it was Sunday night, through like the third day of the storm, and my brother and I were just sitting by our window just knowing it's coming in the morning. Like we just knew. As soon as they mentioned that the Conroe Dam release was going at record amounts, we should have just known quicker, but I fell asleep looking out my
I don't
window.
think anybody,
It's hard to
I
even-
don't
yeah,
think anybody
you can't
knew that
compare.
the severity of the flooding that was going to happen. I don't think anybody knew that was going to
for
happen.
us, we like my dad and I have been following. I had an idea when they said that storm was going to stop and just sit there and then come up. I was like, this is going to be worse this is going to be a lot worse than 94. There was 25 feet of standing water.
It was Allison, right?
No, not Allison was 2001.
2000 oh, okay.
94 came whenever Conroe, all the flooding happened up like north of Conroe. They released the dams, and it came down the San Jacinto River, the west and the east fork. So my dad and I went out on the Thursday before it even hit.
It hit that Friday night,
hit
right?
Friday night, and we were like on the like go by the river and tell people, hey, y'all need to get out. This is going to be bad. And sure enough, comes 2 days later, and we're going to those same people. They need a lot of help.
So we talked a little bit earlier, and here's a revelation that people may not know, and if you have to stop listening to the show because of it, I'm sorry. I was born in Puyallup, Washington, south of Seattle.
That's it. I'm going.
Oh, Dar's over. Interview's
It's okay.
done.
It's okay. I'm native Texan.
I've been in Texas for 21 years. I grew up here. I moved here when I was 10. I'm not a native Texan.
Is there a piece
but
of Jesus in the zombie Frappuccino at Starbucks?
Did you have one of those today?
No. If there was some
They're
Jesus in that
disgusting, by
zombie
the
thing,
way.
I'd get it.
Some Jesus?
It's a zombie joke.
I don't know anything about Jesus.
Lying your ass off.
So, I wasn't here for the great 94 floods. I'm sorry, everyone. This show's a sham. We're shutting it down.
I actually lived in Kingwood during that time. I
Yeah.
remember like riding on my dad's bicycle through that and just mind blown.
You guys are busy, right? Hurricanes come. I'm stuck at my office in Jersey Village going
remember
out
that,
working 12, 13,
We
14,
saw
15
that.
hour days.
Sleeping on the floor.
Yeah, sleeping on the floor in a cot. You know what? I hated that fucking job, but if anybody from Lightwave, which is a shitty fiber company, is listening, thank you to whoever left that cot. Had I not had that cot, that would have been a rough 5 days.
Yeah.
So I at least had a fucking cot. And then we have to think about Independent because, it was one of the, to me personally, I have been excited for year 2 since the day after year 1 because year 1 was so much fun. During all this horrible time where everybody's working and their lives are being destroyed and Tobin's out for a million hours helping people not die and Dar's trying to do whatever the fuck you're doing, something similar, I assume. How did you find the time to sit down and go, okay, Independent's still going to happen and we're going to do it differently and now we're going to have to take off 16 bands from an already amazingly stellar lineup. That original lineup I was so excited to see Dead Meadow.
Yeah, man.
I'll get
wow.
a chance. So how did you guys do it? How did you
first
find
day,
the time to do it?
It was like first day of flooding, and Dar's like, well, this is fucked.
Pretty much the exact words.
And we just felt like, okay, can't do this for profit no longer. Plus, what funds keeps us independent? That's all has 4 feet of water in it because it's not only storage units, like 120 storage units. It's also like 6 commercial buildings, which I believe they helped them rebuild it, and they gave them some rent. They gave them rent for like several months, for free. So
You
there's
guys have insurance on that, right?
No, we
no
don't.
insurance.
Oh, fuck.
And that's what this is what funds everything. So.
To us, like at first sitting there going, well, financially we're screwed as far as the hit that's being taken. But the forefront of those thoughts were just like everybody that wants this event to happen. End of the day, no matter like how much money we lost in year 1 or whatever, we went home really excited and happy because there were 500 people that were just emailing us and texting us and blowing up our pages saying how much the event meant to them, or that means way more than money ever will.
Absolutely. Like
Money's
Lori
not
from
that
Acid,
important, guys. I don't know if you know that out there.
Right.
Lori from Acid King, she was calling like day 1, knowing it was going to get a lot worse, and it was really cool. Like even Dead Meadow was like checking in, like seeing what was going down.
Okay, so why was Dead Meadow unable to do the date? It was the
To be
same
honest,
date, correct?
We're not exactly sure. We talked with not directly Dead Meadow on this one, but their
I
agent.
imagine they have some sort of management
yeah.
firm that takes care of this kind of
something.
business.
I mean,
Something-
to be
something happened.
truthful, a lot of the bands took decent little pay cuts to play that show.
Yeah.
After when the hurricane hit us, we told them the truth, what was going on and how hard it would be for this to be extended, and asked some of them if they would just play for their deposit. And literally every band played for their 50% deposit.
Wow.
That we did on them, and it was harder to get Dead Meadow just because it was last minute. I'm sure
Yeah.
they need funding for their airplanes, and so that's kind of what happened with Acid King. She was the first to call us during all of this. So we're losing money, but in our heads, we're sitting there just thinking, you know, some of these bands are on tour. Some of them have been planning
Elder
on
and
this.
King Buffalo are on tour,
Yeah.
so we had to do that.
And she was like, hey, you know, I don't know what to do. And basically that was our reply. We don't know what to do. You know, yeah, we lost money and that's part of it behind it. But at the same time, we got to figure something out to at least keep it going. And that's when she was like, hey, I still have my plane ticket and I'm coming no matter what.
Yeah.
And so we kind of looked at each other and just had to figure out a way to keep it going. And Elder was on tour. Acid King was already in. So basically it was like, well, let's just keep all the heavy bands. And Sigma Brewery is a heavy type environment. Those guys love metal. So
Yes.
it just kind of made sense to trim it down.
Yeah, I
in
made
that
some.
fashion.
I made
day-
some good friends.
The
Yeah,
day
we
we
definitely
canceled,
did.
Sigma, I hit Sigma up. Just give him the little, I hit a net up first. I don't know.
Yeah, we
Yeah, we met
her.
Annette. We
Yeah,
had some
she
great
liked-
talks with her.
She goes, oh, hey, you guys talked to her on the phone, and then she's like, send a message directly to the Sigma page. So I sent it over. They respond like, yeah, we'll serve the beer. This is really fucking exciting. and like from day one, man, they helped out. You know,
Why
they-
did you decide on Sigma? What was the driving force that made you go
Sigma-
with them when there's so many? There's
We tried
so many options.
so many places. I mean,
Not that they were
literally-
bad. Sigma
Yeah.
was great. If you anybody from Sigma is listening to this, your
Sigma
staff
Brewing is
was
awesome.
excellent. They provided everything that we needed as a podcast to make sure we got the few interviews
Yeah.
that we did, and they really went above and beyond. And their facility was excellent.
Oh, it's
it-
awesome.
A little bit
it's
nicer than
perfect,
some
you
other
know,
places I've
for
been in town.
You know, we tried Warehouse Live, we tried Walters, we tried pretty much everywhere. We had some people hit us up about a warehouse in the area of Sigma, but they wanted $2,500.
and they didn't want to supply
We're trying
anything.
to
We're like,
move it to a benefit, so that just doesn't work in a sense.
It's hard
of
to
its own.
benefit when you're just
Yeah.
spending a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And that's why we moved away from Old Town Spring. Is just the money to get everything out there is exponentially different to having stages get put up, you know, at Sigma. And we dropped the stage size as compared to last year. We didn't need some grand. I mean, like you said, I think Venomous Maximus at one point said they felt like Slayer on stage last year because
Oh, well, man.
setup was just ridiculous.
I remember standing at the back of that mob watching
Yeah.
Venomous Maximus because if you ask Elizabeth, I don't care about being up front anymore.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna hang out back and like smoke some weed and drink beer, and I can headbang and hear the music.
Yeah.
Just get all the fuck, dude. That Venom, I can still picture it from year one.
Yeah,
yeah,
they enjoyed it.
pretty
they
nuts.
enjoyed it. They had no clue what
They
was about to
sounded
come.
great.
I mean, for the
Yeah.
price that we got that whole setup, I still wasn't even expecting when I walked. I was just like, holy shit. Like, this is, but I think it helped everybody kind of realize how serious we were as
Yeah.
far as what we want to deliver for this crowd and this genre. We want them to have what everyone else has and the type of just fun outdoor environment with quality sound. And that's what led to that. But yeah, as far as Sigma Brewery goes, I think we're really happy. It's just a nice little setup with the skyline in the back. It kind of helped us break into Houston because a lot of people don't want to drive to Old Town Spring.
No.
No, that's a nice location for like where it's at in the second ward.
Yeah.
And by when I say nice, I mean like it's easy to get to.
Yeah.
The parking was great and abundant. Look, I'm sorry.
We had
the
to
second
figure
ward isn't
out-
the nicest place in Houston,
Yeah.
but Sigma Brewery was
for
great.
sure.
Yeah, we had to figure out probably some parking. You know, next year is Sigma.
Was there some
'Cause-
parking
well,
debacles?
No, it's just because
There
like
were a
there's
shitload of cars out there.
yeah that where those cars were at though. If it's depending on what moves are made, for next year or maybe even the year after. Next year probably stay the same.
I
the
could
year-
see us at Sigma Brewery. I'll just go ahead and say
Yeah,
it.
Sigma is our thing, but that second parking lot, there's another exit entrance for Centerpoint, which was like right next to them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if we knock out that, we can put we can block off that other parking lot and put out like the 20 breweries, because what Sigma wants to do, there's Dark Lord Day up in at Three Floyds Brewing in Chicago.
That just sounds like a satanic holiday that I want to go to.
Yeah. So I kind of ran the idea, with Matt's like, I want to do something that puts us on the map. Like we love Brash, but
We love Brash
was
as
the
well.
first one we went to. We were like,
Yeah.
I gave Ben the option. They just can't do it because of all the neighbors.
Yeah.
So I gave
All
him
them
the option.
stupid ass lofts and fucking apartments they build around
There is
fucking
nothing
Brash.
around
It's
Sigma.
ridiculous.
Sigma is right there, has nothing around it, and I was like, well, hey, if you want to do the independent sound and brew fest, or you just keep it independent. but we can get these 20 breweries out here. You know, you guys have the licensing and permits to have those extra breweries out here. Because also a shout out to Holler Brewing Company. I don't know if you tried their beers the other night, but they had two selections on tap. Their brewer was out there. Teddy was out there. I mean, there was brewers from Brash. St. Arnold was out there. Eighth Wonder Brewers. I mean, a lot of brewers love.
Is there like a and I don't know if you can answer this question definitely, but is there like so there's been this explosion in craft beer in the last few years.
Texas
which
Independent
is
Brewery Guild.
Okay, so they all kind of know each other, and they all okay.
So we have them on board next year. This year we could have had that, and I think there's like probably some sponsorship that comes with this.
Yeah.
But this year when we went with all the breweries, because we had 15 lined up, like we had Brash, we had Southern Star, Lone Pint,
I like Southern Star.
No Label, Austin East Cider was
No
on
Label.
there. So we had all that, but the time I made that move, wasn't enough time to really, Texas or TIBA already had their like funds allocated, I guess, for promotion. But that's like one, we want to get in with because, I mean, we are independent. It's kind of easy when you have a big music festival and you're called independent pretty much. So
Tell you what, though, having Sigma do the beer this year took tremendous loads of pressure off of us.
Oh,
'Cause,
yeah.
Last year we had a third party do it for the first year, and it didn't work out in our favor, to say the least. And so this year we were like, all right, we're doing it ourselves. We're going to pull the permits. He's just going to do the deals with each distributor, and we were just going to sell the beer. And this year, just once we moved to Sigma and them taking care of that, that's how we were able to sleep before the festival for sure. Because with everything else going on, we also would have been each keg, you pay the keg, get rid of it, pay the keg. So we'd be running around during all of that, doing the beer as well. So.
yeah, and Houston's getting better. It's, Houston could be finicky. There's a lot of people said they were going to come, and I'm like, where are you at?
Look,
Where are you at? And it's like, you have to buy
everybody-
beer. You have to buy beer. You're like, do I buy beer for 2,000 people? How much beer do I buy? Like, we're like, fuck, beer was going to cost us like $15,000 this year. And we're like, he don't even drink really. He drinks like once in a blue moon. I'm like, what the hell? Like, we're just going to have kegs left over. You can't sell it back. What the hell are we going to do with all these kegs? Have like a party at the property? Like, every weekend forever.
So there's a regular
Yeah.
party
Start
every other
raffling
weekend
off
for the
He's
next
right.
3 years.
Sigma took that pressure off of us, and it
We'd
was
like
just,
to work towards being back in Old Town Spring and running all the beer. I think doing it at Sigma will give us that chance in the future to get under our feet. But we would like to be able to have 15 breweries out there feeding 10,000 people all types of beer.
Yeah.
That'd be the dream for sure. But for now, I mean, just having it at Sigma is a really cool, homey kind of feeling. And
they have nice
took a lot
bathrooms.
off of us. Yes,
Yeah.
they did.
That's important.
Yes, they did.
As a female, I will happily tell
Right.
you I'm very happy that there is a clean,
last year,
air-conditioned bathroom.
Yeah, last year we had one little trailer that had I think it had an air-conditioned bathroom, but it was hard for people to find it. They didn't know it was there.
Yeah.
But if we go back to Old Town Spring, we will definitely have Ron Gunnels out there doing our
Ron
porta
Gunnels and
potties.
Sons.
He's got his own little.
I'll tell you
custom
what, you
trailer.
give me a nice porta potty or
Right.
even a mediocre porta potty, and I'm a happy pooper.
Yep.
Yeah. Did
He
you go
prides
poop in
himself
his?
in 'em.
Did you go in those porta potties?
And where? And which year?
First
This year.
Yes,
Oh.
of course.
Well, same guy this year did them, but last year those 30
Brand new.
porta potties were brand new, never been used before.
Oh, I
Oh,
liked
yeah,
them.
I went the first in the morning. Yeah, when we got there.
I'm a fiber optic technician by trade because I didn't have money to go to school, and I work in a truck in Houston in one of their 7 surrounding counties. So we're all over the place, and sometimes
Gotta go to the bathroom.
you have to poop in the back of your truck with a trash bag. And there's a reason that there's always trash bags on my truck. There's 2 reasons. One of them's pooping, and there's always a little bit of toilet paper. So for me, a wonderfully clean porta potty is,
it.
oh, I love it. My ex-wife and Elizabeth, they're like, oh, porta potties are so gross. And I'm like, you have no fucking idea what it's like to be like, oh my God, a porta potty on the side of the road. Thank Christ.
110
Never shit in
degrees,
your truck
disgusting
in
as hell.
20-degree weather. That's good. Yeah, we pride ourselves on clean toilets.
Yeah, but I would once again, like Sigma Brewing Company, Nick, Matt Peterson, and Adam Silvers. I mean, and also Matthew Bell with Flood Distribution, who is who's a distributor for Sigma. That was awesome. They're still stoked on what happened. They can't believe that just happened. They're
They
only a
were-
year old,
They
and
were
that just
so
happened
nervous. They were so nervous.
Yeah, we've
before
had
that.
some talks with what
You could see it on their face. Like
Annette. Is that her name, Annette?
yeah.
We've talked about
I mean, a good nervous. I think they looked like their eyes looked like our eyes last year, the day before. Just like
Well, let's
okay,
talk about
well, this
last
is
year for a
happening.
second. And this is
Okay.
something I've never asked you guys. With the first year of Independent, which we had an excellent time and
Oh
we
my God,
really
it was so
enjoyed
much
it.
fun.
We had that was a really good day.
Yeah.
I was good after I found a golf cart.
Do you feel with the first year that you guys may have like overshot just a little bit for what you were doing?
Definitely, but we made a statement.
Yeah,
A bit,
definitely.
you guys pretty much just you just stamped your boot. You were like, boom, like here we are.
You know, I had an old roommate that says, you know, you can talk about it or you can be about it, and we were about it. Like
Hardcore.
there's so much talk about independent, like supporting independent and all that, and we're like, all y'all talk about is supporting independents and stuff here in Houston, which I mean I love, and we're named independent. We did it. Yeah, bit off way more than we chew, but it was we handled
Definitely
it,
worked
made
out.
it. Yeah, you know, people knew who we were after last
At least
year.
we weren't one of those first year events that bit off more they could chew and
then never came
didn't-
back?
Yeah, or didn't even
Houston
have the
open
year.
air.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Houston Open Air, you sucked. I'm sorry. I was really excited to hear that Houston was getting an open air show, and that first year's lineup was like pretty craptacular, and then the next year's lineup was even more craptacular.
I think
but then it just
Mothership
canceled.
Mothership was the only one to play. We were talking with Kelly about that. It's like, yeah, only ones to play the open air so far. Houston.
Fuck you, open air. We're not Europe. We can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It was real convenient. They moved a month back and to the Woodlands, like a
moved in.
mile and a half from where we were at. So, and it was a weekend before, so we were just like, oh,
Come
okay,
to our neck
great.
of the woods.
But at the same time, we're still not like I wouldn't have to worry about that in my head because all the bands and all the people. This is more of an occult following and bands that are still very underground.
Well, you got Acid King, and so before Acid King played that night, I can't listen to everything. I wasn't super familiar, but I went on Spotify and kind of jammed a little bit and read the small amount of information that's about them online. But really, Acid King, as far as like doom, stoner, that kind of stuff goes, they're like fucking legends.
She started it all.
Yeah,
93.
How did you
Lord.
go about getting in contact with her to come all the way? I imagine she was
We were
in
making the
California.
list. We were making the list, checking it twice, and I was like, let's do Acid King.
You just were
It
like,
fits.
fucking A, let's see what
Because
they
we
can
were
do.
like,
Took one email.
one email. It was like,
Wow.
Acid King? I was jamming Cough that day, actually. I was
Yeah.
jamming some Cough, and then I like heard Homeboys in Jail. And I was like, let's do Acid King. Dar handles all that stuff, and he gives her an email, bam, and it's right directly with Lori, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have an agent, but it's like Lori though handles everything for him.
Wow.
And yeah, so
They're amazing. Even when I texted her after the festival, and I was just like, "Thank you for coming out here and playing for
putting
what
on
you
an
did
amazing
and,
show.
you know, for the city." And she was just like, immediately texted me back, "No problem at all. We had a blast. I'm already home hanging out with my cats."
I think
And
that
I was
was
just like,
their-
"This is just the weirdest feeling to get that text message." And, try not to say anything dumb, basically.
You're like, oh, I don't want to look like an idiot. in
because
front
she's
of
like
her."
getting personal. I'm playing with my cats. It's like awesome. But yeah, Acid King with that was
I think we had already like had Elder and them in mind, so they were really down with the lineup. I know after year one, my brother just kept telling me, he's like, "Elder, please."
Does
Elder."
that come up when you talk to a band, when you approach a band about playing a festival? Is it often like, okay, well, who else is on the bill? Who are we going to be playing with? Like, what kind of
First
atmosphere
year,
are we setting?
mostly
first year was kind of like,
we felt we had to do that.
who are y'all?
Yeah, you know.
Oh, no.
So when we approached a ton of bands, and there was like bands like A La La's, a psychedelic band from California, or White Denim. You know, they either
Sword,
wanted all
Black
their
Angels.
money up front, or they wanted just something, just because we were a first year event. So we definitely had that thought of when I was dealing with them to let them know kind of what was on the bill, which kind of bit us in the ass a little bit, telling some Houston people who we had, and our headliners that we had locked up pretty much ended up being on another show right before our festival. So it kind
That
of
was
bit
last
us
year.
to learn our lesson of not really disclosing, but at the same time I didn't feel upset about it because I felt like I had to get some of these bands to know, like, hey, Radio Moscow is on this lineup. Black Angels are in the talks, and but yeah, we learned our lesson. Now that we have done 2 years, we're kind of hoping people trust us and take us seriously when we tell them like, hey, we have a good lineup. Do you want to be on it? And that's all it takes. It took more than that first year.
Who was the first band we had this year? Dead Meadow was the first one we locked in, right?
Yeah, we worked with
We talked to him last
their
year.
agent. He was, Ruby the Hatchet, is Jake with Tone Deaf, I believe. And we'd already worked with several of his bands. Black Tusk was one of them. So we hit him up immediately about Dead Meadow because he had tried to get Dead Meadow on last year. So that was like the first one was Dead Meadow, Elder. And from there, we emailed Acid King and told him, hey, this is who we have. And luckily, Acid King did not back off once
was really awesome
they
of him.
dropped off. It's just could not ask for anything more out of Acid King. They got there. They didn't care about any of the technical difficulties. We're like, hey, we're going to move you to another stage. This is fucked up.
So
they didn't care.
do we know what happened with that main stage? I know something
Oh,
went down.
They weren't pulling power the right
They weren't
way.
pulling power the right way at all. So I gave them all day because I think you could tell through the day. Just be like once, sometimes twice during the band. It would just like it sounded like a gunshot at sometimes. And I go to him, it's like, hey, you have your last chance.
There is a huge generator right there.
We
that
could
can
do
power 5 stages.
5 stages with that 75 kWA. So I go, hey, you have one last chance. Nothing can go wrong during this. Well, then America's Sharks, at least Mike was on stage when power went out for 25 minutes. Mike, I love Mike from American Sharks. He was just up there cracking.
Those
jokes
guys are
after
funny.
jokes.
Yeah, they're
originally-
pretty
they
There
funny.
were like 10
from-
times I was in the crowd and I heard someone say, well, thank God Mike's on stage right now.
Yeah,
Anyone
everyone
else
knows
with
Mike.
crickets.
Yeah, he's from Houston originally, like the Magnolia area, so like Greater Houston. But yeah, he was having a great time. Didn't care. Just
Stand
like
up.
I know at one point when he was
Fantastic.
trying to fix it, I'm standing under the sound tent and I'm just standing there and Jenny, Jordan's wife with Pirate Ship, she comes walking up behind me and she just
I like her.
breathe, Dar, breathe.
And
And I
I'm
look
over-
over my shoulder and she's standing, she's like, it's going to be okay. Because I knew she probably could tell I was just like, I'm about to lose
Was that
my
a
shit.
huge issue with the main
To
stage?
us,
Just
I
like
guess it
holy
was,
shit.
Nah.
but it seemed like nobody really gave a shit. Everyone was kind of drunk, and they
I
understand
handled it
was
like
quick.
a boss.
Yeah, I mean it's not his first
Tobin,
circus.
ever so humble.
And the bands are really cool. All you got to do is tell them like, hey, we're gonna fix this. We're gonna just finish out on the other stage. If y'all can be quick in and out of sets. They did not care. They're like, oh, we got
Elder
this.
and King
Everybody
Buffalo,
did a great
everybody's
job
like pulling
getting
off.
everything in and
I
out
mean,
of that
Elder
off
and
that
Mothership
stage.
were sharing stuff.
Buddy from Greenbeard was there. I don't know if you're familiar with Buddy from Greenbeard.
Yeah, we did a
Yeah,
great
we had a
interview
good
with
Okay,
them.
so yeah, he did he talk about the Boss Tweed? He does
No.
Boss Tweed backline. He has
Yeah,
the
oh,
largest
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
we did
largest
talk about that.
largest orange supply in all Southwest.
When
Western
I
United States.
emailed Lori with Acid King, I was like, "Hey, we have Buddy with Boss Tweed doing the backline." She's like, "Oh, I know Buddy. He's great." And I'm just like, "He's like our age, but Lori is just knows who he is. He's been
Well, he does
busting his ass
He's
for
a
the
Psycho
last-
Las
Psycho Las
Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah,
Psycho Las Vegas.
I mean,
We're
for,
gonna need
for
to
what
go
he's
out to that.
accomplished already
Yeah.
in his little backline career so far is just crazy.
I
mean,
just-
everyone knows him.
I've just started calling him Uncle Buddy. That's what I call him in Austin, Uncle Buddy.
That was my first time seeing Greenbeard too, and
Oh,
I,
they're-
my God,
I
it was
love
so
Greenbeard.
good.
They're one of my
Blown away.
favorites.
Yeah.
They're so damn
I mean,
good.
for doom bands just being all about tone and what they do. I mean, that guy's guitar sound was not like anyone else's that day. I mean, it was crunchy.
They truly bring back like that Queen, like early day Queen of the Stone Age Caius. Like it's
Yeah.
desert rock. It's
I-
desert rock
for sure.
with a really great like doomy tone.
That's funny because when we interviewed them, they were like, "Yeah, Queen of the Stone Age."
Yeah, we
Interesting.
talked a
That's-
lot
oh
about
yeah,
Homie.
Chance,
A
and
lot.
all those
Oh
guys.
yeah,
they
they're like hardcore
love.
Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah,
makes,
hardcore.
makes some
Well,
sense.
what did you learn this year about putting on a musical festival? A musical festival.
Patience, maybe.
Patience, not expecting local bands to do much promotion wise, to be honest.
Is that an issue?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a local band,
Listen
and
up,
I know
local
we
bands.
fail at it miserably a lot of times. Vanilla Whale can be terrible at promoting shows at times, but I also recognize what we're doing that's failing. So, like when we do these shows, I think a lot of times these local bands have this thought in them nowadays that one Facebook post is promotion.
It's not
and it's
everyone.
not. Yeah.
It's
You know,
definitely
if
not.
you're
And
a
it's-
local
it's-
band, you
It does
should-
help though. It does help,
For
but it's
sure,
not the only
for
thing you
sure.
should be
Yeah.
doing.
You should be, sending direct messages to all your followers. Have an email set up so once a week you're emailing your fans about this festival or whatever show it is that you're doing. But yeah, we kind of got on to some people a little bit, and there were a few bands that dropped off before the show, which kind of like to us was like, well, they
I
never
don't know if
did
you
one
saw
post
my
anyways.
I don't know if you saw my post about that. Got like over 100 likes. It was just, like, what's the point of being in a band? Yeah, what's the point of being in a band if you don't promote? Like, you like playing in front of small crowds? How are you gonna ask me for money if you don't promote? And one of the bands that was supposed to play day 2, liked the post, and he had asked about like, hey, what are we gonna do for some like cash, for the benefit thing. And I didn't respond because I'm busy as hell.
Yeah.
And then they
You
dropped,
always
and I'm
respond
just
to me
Yeah, I always respond to you
every time.
Well,
And it wasn't every band. I mean, there's I'm doing a lot of work right now with Warlung.
Yeah.
Those kids. I mean, y'all were there at that WoFat show. There was by mid set like over 100 people there.
That was a great,
They do
that
posts?
WoFat show at Walters was fucking. I was like, holy shit!
There's like 220 there. They did 3,000 at the bar. That
Wow.
Andrew
Whoa.
Signs, the bartender's like, yo, I just paid my rent in one night. He's like,
Whoa.
he's like, I got that 10% basically, and it's like 10 to 15. It's like, I am good. So it's not actually what we found though is like a lot of the bands that were playing that we had still on the festival. A lot of them actually. They do a better job than some of the bands that were like on day one originally. Some of those bands, and I think it's just I think it's the whole spirit of like the metal crowd and like the harder rock crowd. They know they have to come together to do.
We
something.
need it.
Yeah,
We need all of you metal, hard rock.
I'm actually
to
gonna.
come out
I think
and
I'm
go
gonna
to
try to
shows.
do a piece for Houston Press just on what I think bands should be doing.
Could you ask them to make sure that they link our website properly? next
Oh, I
time?
can do that. Absolutely. Yeah.
No, that
Or,
was
you
a
know,
great. That was a
write
great
a
article, and
article.
thank you for. Damn it, Elizabeth, you're giving us away.
Look, I could have wrote a better article.
I hope you don't listen to this. Whoever wrote that, the girl I added on Facebook. We appreciate the shout out though.
Thanks for mentioning 2 bands playing the second day that actually both dropped off the bill.
Oh yeah. Oh,
See?
so the
See, I'm not
article
the
all
only
around
one, right?
was a little rough, huh?
Yeah, it's
Who were they?
From Beyond, I think.
Oh yeah,
I think they're
totally did drop off the bill.
I
Fuck
don't know.
those guys.
I don't know. It's well.
I'm
They,
just-
hit,
that's
they
just-
actually
up or
hit us
something.
up. I think they broke up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the other band was Space Villains.
I was
Which
gonna
is
say, I
like
didn't-
Space Villains is pretty cool, but yeah, I mean,
How did you go about getting L.A. Witch? I had never heard of that band
Oh,
before.
okay, well,
and they
that's-
played this crazy.
Yeah.
How would you describe L.A. Witch's music?
it's like twangy '60s like country vocals.
It's
like
almost
this
like a
60
creepy
vibes.
doo-wop rock and roll.
Yeah, it's real weird.
yeah.
It was real. I did not know what to expect, but I
Yeah.
did not expect what I heard.
I mean,
but I enjoyed it.
For what they do, they don't do anything technically crazy. They're just almost like a blues rock, but I feel like they have this old school, almost doo-wop sound to what she does. But so how that happened was they were on tour and they were set to do a show with Margin Walker, and Chris Wise hit me up and he was like, "Hey man, LA Witch is coming to town. It's the same night that day 2 of the festival. And if there's any way you can get him on, that would be awesome." And I thought that was really cool that he was, instead of putting up another show and battling against our show and losing fans,
conformed?
yeah. And so they gave a really good price and they made it happen. I mean, he reached out to us and was like, "Hey, if y'all want to put him on, put him on." And I thought that was actually nice as compared to a lot of other people that try to battle us and put shows up the same night, like Primus on the same night at White Oak Music Hall.
I'm gonna be really unpopular right now.
Hey, not many
I
people
don't
like Primus.
give a fuck about Primus. I'm sorry. I just don't. I guess I'm too young. I missed that Primus boat. I'm
Yeah.
sure they're a great band. But I don't give a fuck.
I want
I
to see
enjoy 'em.
Primus. I want to see Primus because like as a kid, it was kind of like this crazy band. I'm 30, so like as a kid, it was like. I don't know if I so much listen to Primus, but it's kind of like that crazy vibe to him. But he just saw them, Dar saw them at Red Rocks with the Claypool Linen Delirium, and he thought that was just awesome. But definitely a shout out to Shade, Arita, and Ellie from LA Witch, and their manager, tour manager Ross.
He was.
He
Is that
gave
the guy
it-
who was doing the merch?
Yeah, he was in the merch.
Absolutely friendly, professional dude.
Very.
He had us watch some. He was
We
like,
had
"Hey, could you just?"
miscommunications early on in the day because we had moved outside stage inside for Walters, and their set got moved back, so they were kind of confused. And they got on the phone with Tobin and just chatted. And once they got to that human level of just some stuff happened, and there was weather. And
I
we
think
got
you
to
could
do
tell
it.
I've been doing this for like 16 years.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, we ahead of schedule. And then when they got there, they come in for Amplified Heat, and they're like, who is this? And we're like, it's Amplified Heat. And they're like, damn.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, hey, you guys are going to go on at 12:20, not that 1 o'clock, 12:20. It's like, We can go on at 1 o'clock. We do not care. This is cool. Like they got there right when Amplified Heat was playing, so this all
Perfect
Amplified
time
Heat.
for them to walk in. They were like, "What?
What
fuck
about
is
Amplified
this?
Heat really put on a great fucking
I
show.
saw them walk in.
Even
Yeah.
if, I mean, I wouldn't even. I mean, Amplified Heat's definitely not a metal band. They did a lot of jazz shit.
Just
But I mean, like
the
even
loud
if you,
as hell.
Oh, man.
loud as hell rock and roll with a psychedelic
Yeah.
blues.
You know, if it,
That's what
to
they are.
Make it all make sense. I think like once a week they do straight Motorhead nights in Austin.
oh my
They're
God,
doing one
what a
tonight.
great night.
That's what
Which
they are.
makes
Is
sense.
just like Motorhead. I mean, he's got that real raspy voice too, as well. So.
Oh yeah,
they're
and
just fast rock
Jim,
and
the
roll.
guitarist. So they're all three brothers. So it's the Ortiz brothers. So Jim was born first, so he got guitar. Then Chris came around, so he got to play drums. Well, then there's Gian. Gion's like, well, we need a bass player. So they're originally from Houston. They didn't all move out to Austin until like '97 because they range from the age of like I think like 37 to 44 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so also Eric Tesmer Band, an incredible Texas blues musician, was on the festival last year. Gian is the bass player for that. So
Highly recommend if you want to see. I know he gets it all the time, like Stevie Ray Vaughan, but this dude is that level. I mean, he plays Jimi Hendrix songs.
Well,
like,
we need those people. Look,
Oh, yeah.
I know there were greats, and
Right.
some of them are dead, some of them are on the verge of being dead.
Yep.
But like, we need people to replace those
Trust me,
people.
I've
So if
seen,
you're
like-
out there, bring it YouTube, man.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get out there now.
Yeah.
Unless you're a small podcast about local Texas metal, then it's fucking difficult as shit. Oddly
We can't
enough.
give shit away for free.
Okay,
No.
before we wrap it up, because we sadly are coming to that time, what would either of you... Let me rephrase that because that was phrased terribly. What were the best moments for both of you at this year's Independent? Either day.
I think my favorite moment was the day before the festival started, when some dude from Florida walked up to Sigma Brewery, and he was like, "Hey, is this where it's happening?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I just got here from Florida." It's like, holy shit. I think just all of that. There was a crew from Vegas, dude from Philly,
Ron
they were
Palmer from
everywhere.
Boston.
Yeah. I think that's my favorite part about it is like people flocked from pretty much all corners of the U.S. to get here for this event. It's just crazy. And yeah, to see them say that they love seeing Texas bands in Texas, I think is what Ron Palmer said. I just
Yeah.
think that's the coolest shit because he would have never seen Crip Trip, but for him to see them here is, and his reaction to that, I think was pretty awesome.
Texas has a bevy, I don't know if that's the
Yeah.
right term, of
We're all
amazing
about
music,
showcasing,
whether
yeah.
it be heavy metal or
We love
country or jazz
Houston,
or
but
what have
we're
you.
beyond just Houston. Like we love Texas, and I think I've said before, growing up in the hardcore scene, Texas had to rely on Texas, just not certain scenes. So yeah, that's something we're very big on. And then my showcase, which I'll be announcing next month, which I assume this will come out probably next month.
You know what? Don't ever. It could be 6 months. No,
Yeah.
I don't know when we're gonna get
Well,
this
yeah,
out.
January
Squeeze it in.
January 11th, we have a showcase. It's our first showcase of 2018. We have Duel. We have Duel, Destroyer of Light, and Pyre Ship at Walters Downtown.
Oh my god, I love all of those bands. We're
Yeah,
gonna be
so it's
there
like
for
our
sure.
showcase, and I know it's gonna be a good show. But
Yeah.
I guess I'd say my favorite part is just like last year, is just seeing smiles on everybody's faces. Like
Yeah.
200 people showed up early as hell this year. We're like, what? Like Jody Seabody was playing.
God, Joe, I love that band, and those guys are just so amazing, dudes.
And they're just
Goofy.
all such different personalities.
Excellent
It's-
interview.
it
It's going to be
works.
good.
Nice.
They had a great interview.
Cool.
We only managed to get 3 this year, but we've got more material for this year's Independent than last year's Independent, so we're going to be able to break it up into 2
Nice.
episodes.
Awesome. I
Yeah.
think, with just seeing, it's the atmosphere we're creating because I think we're pretty just chilled, laid back. We're not about being, everybody wants to run something. They want to feel important. We don't give a fuck. We're just like, we just want to be able to go to good shows like the music we love.
Create a
We
show
just
for what
want
you wanna watch.
people. We just want more people at the shows, and we want like a scene where everybody's like high fives and like let's drink and
Yeah, imagine
a good environment.
Imagine a world where the local bands, whether they be thrash metal or death metal or psych rock or what have you, where they all just worked together to make a stronger scene for everyone. It's
Well,
like a
in
fucking Star
Houston,
Trek
Wouldn't it be
utopia.
nice?
Yeah.
In Houston, we like Elder and all them say we're not known for this. Yeah, we're known for hip hop, pop, and indie rock, and blues. Like we're not known for this. So it's like
We need to be, though. Doomstress, come on.
Yeah.
What about Brandon introducing and we play heavy metal? I was like,
Brandon,
yes.
It's interesting to hear Brandon from Project Armageddon, which right now is kind of up in the clouds, but I've been told by a close source that might not be dead. And then Doomstress, it was nice to see him more openly talk on the mic, because even if you listen to some of the episodes we've done with them, Brandon's a quiet man, but if you're out of the show and you see Brandon and you start talking to him, he's gonna fucking talk to you.
Plenty of
Especially if he's
times.
drunk.
Those hung out with him a lot recently. It was like Matt, the guitarist, and just
Matt's fun.
That
coolest,
motherfucker, dude. I wish I could play guitar like him.
We have Matt came over for like Rick and Morty and Games of Thrones because he lives like a block away from us. So he just come on over and bring
and
some
like
whiskey.
boxing matches. I think what is
Boxing,
the
yeah.
Canelo fight? He's first one over at my house. He's like, we've gotten to hang out with him a lot recently, and it's been a cool friendship bubbling.
So what about the worst moments? What was the most downest you were this weekend for Independent Year 2 this past weekend?
Not to call Matt out, but having to rip down the fence the night of the festival at 3 a.m.
My God,
we
that
were
sounds
we were
brutal.
so dead, but we understood what they wanted. They wanted to wake up and everybody around there not know what happened. For the future too, for
Yeah,
their
they're looking
neighbors
for the
to get there
future.
and have no idea that festival took place. We understood it. It might have been 3 a.m. and we were dead, but they jumped out there and
We
started
woke up at
breaking it down.
4:30 in the morning.
It was.
We got home at 4 in the morning, and I think we were at Walters. No, we were back at Sigma, maybe by like 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we went all the way to 2. So I would like to shout out to whoever decided to invent cold brews.
Yeah,
Good
right?
job,
Cold brew.
whoever the inventor of the cold brew.
Yeah,
You're fucking
even
great.
the Astros game was the same night too, and being a huge Astros.
Oh, that
fan, I
was
just
yeah.
like,
We were
fuck.
interviewing. If you've listened, this will probably be on the second part of Independent. I don't know how we're going to do it,
Yeah.
but if you listen
hear
to some of the interviews, you can hear. Well, hold on, just a second. You go, or, fuck you.
That was probably my
fuck
mom.
you, George.
That
Oh,
was
dude,
my
your
mom.
mom's one hardcore fucking
Hardcore
lady.
into that.
Oh yeah.
I from a personal standpoint, and we have been involved. I'd like to say, and I could be wrong, so let me know if I'm wrong. We've been involved with Independent from very close to the beginning when you and I met at
Absolutely.
Walters, and this year was absolutely fantastic. So
we did that first interview there at Rudyard's during the Doomsters listening party.
yeah,
That's
we
right.
did. That was a good. Yeah, I forgot about
very
that.
first one. I was like 25 pounds lighter, feeling great.
Your leg
You know,
wasn't all fucked up.
It wasn't fucked
You
up
weren't
yet. I
stabbed in
don't
the
think.
face?
So shit.
No stabbing in the face going on.
I wasn't stabbed in the face at a hate breed show. So shit.
Thank you both very much for the excavant, excellent
Excellent
festival.
pieces.
Stop smoking.
It's all the weed and the beer, guys. It's so fucking, look, I
have this recorded,
I have a
right?
disease.
Oh, yeah.
I can't help it. When I see a beer and a weed, I have to eat them or smoke them
goes
both.
in.
It just depends.
Oh, hey,
there with
actually,
you.
best part was Walter from Funeral Horse hitting us up.
Oh my God!
Saying, you gained a new fan at Independent. I'm going to break up weed and rel lines off this new album. I was
No,
like,
the
yes.
email from them, the guy bought their album and he said, "You fucking heathens gained a fan this weekend at End Hip, and I can't wait to break down lines and snort coke off this album."
Oh my god.
We were interviewing Joey C. Jody C. Body in the Worlds, and Walter came up and he dropped those shorts he was wearing and spread that brown eye, and I got a look into the depths of the universe.
Hey, all I got to say about that
my
one,
God.
Lucy in the Sky with diamonds.
You know what? He
Lucy
told
in
me
the
that
Sky
he
with
wasn't fucked up, but I wasn't sure I
no,
believed it.
He came up to me at first apologizing. I was like, "Sorry, that was amazing.
It was the
That-
best. Walter,
Yeah,
you're great. I loved
blast. Yeah, no, I loved it. I told him 10 times that night, dude, I loved your set. It
A
was
major
amazing.
shout out to Walter too, because he always just free of charge just does posters, and we like saw this
Isn't
like
he like a lawyer or some shit? Like
works
he's
for the city
like
or
a
something.
mucky
He works
muck
for the
badass
city,
that wears
yeah.
a suit every day.
But him and Whitney Andrew, they have a rad production, and they do street team, and like we saw our flyers everywhere on food trucks. I mean, they just put them up everywhere. So,
What was that hot dog vendor you guys
Holy
had?
shit, that
Spicy
hot dog
dog?
vendor.
wait, the first
Those
day.
Sigma guys. got-
Sigma guy.
Oh,
Yeah,
Spicy dog.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in Houston and you see like a spicy dog, I don't know if they have a restaurant or a truck or what, but you're gonna have one of the best fucking hot dogs you'll
Hey,
ever
and
had in your life.
the second day, I don't know if y'all ate that.
Yeah,
The
oh my
burgers?
God, that burger.
Umbrella Fellas. First time ever at Walters, and they want to be there forever. Those burgers
I
and
love
hot
So
dogs.
good.
Oh my god.
Well, thank you both very much for being on the show
Oh,
again.
yeah. Nah.
I'm sorry, did I interrupt you, my dear?
I hate you.
Well, I didn't mean to. I didn't know
Punch
you were
I
going
just
to
never
talk.
get to talk.
Well,
This
that's
is
because
why.
you're not. You're the editor, not the host.
So can we get a coffee truck next year?
Right?
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah.
Or like something to.
Yeah.
It's a long
Day 2
fucking
was a
day.
little rough,
Yeah.
man.
That's smart.
Yeah.
We need a coffee.
we're
and
done.
Day
all
2
that
for
shit.
me was
Yeah.
just eat these painkillers and drink some cold brew.
Yeah.
3. And that was
Survival
good.
mode.
Survival mode.
So, can we year 3? I mean,
There
is it
will be
possibly
no promises on anything huge, but there will be something.
we're gonna have to reach out a little bit to if we want to go bigger. We have to reach out on something maybe.
I'll tell
kinda
you
go
what,
outside of us.
This
but
year was good. I don't know if next
Oh,
year
yeah.
needs to be
It'll-
bigger, but
yeah,
if
it
it's
will.
just
I
the
think-
same.
I think this is the perfect size.
It'll be the same amount of bands.
Well, you guys
Well-
did an amazing job.
you.
Absolutely wonderful time.
Who are y'all's favorite bands?
That's hard
Green
because
Beard.
we've played so many of them on the show, and then we've seen so many of them live before.
Well, they're all good.
They were all
Just
great.
which ones had the
My
best sets for you?
favorite? Oh shit! I really like Josephus. Never listened to Josephus
Whoa.
before. Their fucking leagues. Josephus established 1969 in Houston. This motherfucker, 71 years old.
Laid it out on stage.
Fucking kicking ass on
Yeah.
stage, like holy shit! What did he say? If I fall down and I'm down for 10 seconds or more, call the cops. But if
Yeah.
I get up, I'm good. That motherfucker's got rock and roll like
In him.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
coursing through his veins.
Oh, I was like, damn.
Elder
I know, man.
Mothership, which is always a pleasure, and we've seen Mothership now quite a few times live, and Acid King, which
Yeah.
I was really unfamiliar with, but just the
Lori's
tone and
not
the sound.
sure.
and-
Lori is not sure if that was their first show. Because I think they came 2001. She was like, "Well, we were on tour with High on Fire in
just don't
2001."
remember.
She's like, "But I don't remember coming to Houston." But like I'm saying, like Houston was not a memorable place at that time. Like it
No.
took a lot.
That's sad.
Bands avoided Houston because I got in
still
like
do.
99, 98, 99 is when I got into music, and bands have still been trying to avoid here. So I could say if nobody, she didn't, remember playing here or not, but it would have been, if it wasn't their first time, it was their second time.
Yeah.
And she loves Houston now.
Good.
I personally sat during Elder's set and smoked a whole blunt by myself.
Holy shit!
And I was-
can't
I've
even
waited
do
for that
I'd
all
freak
day
out. I'd be
long.
like, "Oh my god,
I waited
I'm
for
gonna
that
die
so
one
long.
day."
It was so much
First year, I
smaller
didn't get
this
to watch
year.
any bands. Like I didn't watch.
You
one
guys were
set.
running around crazy first year.
That's why I made it a point. It's like I told her when Elder gets on, someone's watching that gate because I'm gonna stand there dead middle and just watch.
Oh, thanks for the poster, by the way.
Oh yeah,
We
Oh,
got a
awesome.
badass
Right.
misprint.
nice.
Yeah, it's
Y'all
fucking.
got the
it's-
misprint?
Oh,
What's
it's-
misprinted on
I'll
it?
show you. It's fucked
Oh,
up.
sweet. Yeah, we were told there was one. And
Looking looking forward to year 3.
Cool.
Once again,
Sweet.
thank you
I got
very
Taylor
much.
Swift
Thank
on
you.
board.
Oh fuck! Oh dude, I love it. And I'm just being myself. Fuck! If you've not seen the Limp Bizkit Taylor Swift song, you need to watch it on YouTube.
Done.
Thanks for listening, motherfuckers. TexasMetalShow.com for all your show notes. Go out and support your local scene. Go to a local show. Buy a local record. If you don't, you're an asshole. Bleh.